Hey guys, this is Joseph here at Engadget Expand. We're in Fort Mason in San Francisco, and this is our very first conference. And I have to ask the question, is it hot in here, or is it just me? Well, good thing that we have the company that can actually take care of that issue. This is Matt Rogers. He is the co-founder and VP of Engineering at Nest. Matt.
Great to be here.
Nice to have you here.
Great conference.
Yes, it's awesome. I know you were just on stage with Michael Gorman, and so we just, we talked a little bit about what's going on with Nest and where you started, but can you sort of encapsulate for me, where you came from, your background? I know you started with Apple doing the iPod software. How do you go from the iPod to a thermostat?
So I actually started doing robotics. So,
oh, wow.
So before Apple, I was at Carnegie Mellon and did actually robotics.
Right.
I did electromechanical systems and software and worked with Yoki Matsuoka, renowned kind of neurobiologist. Did basically human brain interactions to robots. That was her specialty.
Okay.
And that's where I started. And did an internship at Apple in the iPod team for Tony Fadell, who ran the iPod team at the time, and loved it. I was like, wow, this is amazing, building consumer products, build it and ship it to millions of people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. So I jumped in head first, basically on the first iPhone. When I started, we were just kind of conceptualizing that first iPhone. And it was a great couple of years, and I loved it. We built a couple generations of iPhone, continued many iPods. I built a whole team around it. And really learned how to build products end to end. Kind of hardware working together with software, with services and connectivity and design, and it laid a great foundation for building a company. Now, how does this all tie together?
Right, how do you go from music to temperature control?
Yeah, so the thermostat basically is kind of like a robot on your wall.
Right.
So I actually ended up hiring that old Professor Yoki to run our intelligence team. So basically what we did is we identified this opportunity. I mean, thermostats are responsible for about half of home energy. Astonishing statistic, right? It's very important.
Yes.
But yet really no innovation. So how can we fix it? So let's use all the technology we've done for the last 10 years, but integrate it into this new space with some great sensors, learning algorithms, and make it beautifully designed. And it worked really well. I mean, we put a lot into it, but the product, it works great. I mean, we save our customers on average about 20%. And people are raving about it.
Now, did you have a passion for sort of the environment and cost savings? Was that something that was there before, or was it just incidental to discovering, oh, hey, here's a product that's integral in every home that no one's innovated for decades?
So Tony and I were definitely founded in kind of that, could we do something that's really green?
Right.
So after doing 10 years of iPod and iPhone, could we do something that's great for the planet too?
Right.
But using all that great technology that we did along the way and finding this opportunity, this low-hanging fruit. I mean, half of home energy in one product. Like that never happens. Like with lighting, there's a lot of companies looking at LED lighting and intelligent lighting, but lighting is only 20% of home energy.
Right. Let's
go after the meat of the problem. Let's go after thermostats.
Awesome. So I know for me, it's a very exciting product. I'm the type of person that, I live in New York, so I can't use it because I'm in apartments. I don't have the access to my thermostat. But at the same time, I unplug all of my appliances. I don't leave anything that's not working running in. So these cost savings make sense to me. But at the same time, your product is priced, it's $250, right? Now, that's sort of on the higher end, if you will. That's a premium product. Are you looking to, I know you talked about this with Michael, when you're innovating Nest, the thermostat, are you looking to just add more sensors, more features, or are you going to try and take that product and make it cheaper to get it into more households, get more penetration, pass on more cost savings in the long term?
The answer is both.
Okay,
and if we could actually do both at the same time, it would be even better. So we're always adding new software features and pushing the envelope there. Yeah. We've done 17 software updates since we launched the company 16 months ago.
Right.
So it's phenomenal. But there are great ways of getting the cost down, and part of it actually is through incentive programs. So for example, we've started working with utility partners around the country, and actually recently started working with a company in Massachusetts and Rhode Island called National Grid.
Okay.
And they have had rebate programs for years, and haven't had a lot of uptick in some of the rebate programs. But working with Nest, can we do a $100 rebate on Nests? So bring the price down to $149.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And it helps everybody.
Right.
The utility is able to use some of their incentive programs to basically subsidize energy efficiency, and the consumer gets a great product at a reduced price. It's kind of all around a win.
Okay. In terms of your marketing, though, you don't want to rely entirely on utility partners to bring out these rebate incentives. Do you have? I haven't seen to date. Obviously, I'm an Engadget editor, so I know very well these new tech innovations. But how are you getting this message out to consumers, bypassing something like utility providers?
So we're doing a lot through kind of I'd say our own channels. So
Okay.
we're doing a monthly energy report that we send to all of our users to basically see how much they're saving, and that's been incredibly viral. A lot
And
of
hoping that that's sort of just word of
exactly.
mouth.
That's been heavily shared. We're doing a lot on social with that. There's also actually a lot of just traditional marketing that we're doing. We're starting to actually do advertising. We're doing kind of full page spreads and dwell, good housekeeping. Those
Okay,
kinds
so
of
that was
magazines.
going to be my next question. You're
Exactly.
going to hit all those design and
Yes,
home,
so-
right? Okay.
Yeah, being a product of high design in the home, it's natural to start talking directly to people who care about home design.
Right, exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
We're going to invest in that as well.
Yeah.
So how important is the design innovation for the current Nest product? Is that something we're going to see more changes in, or are you pretty comfortable with where it is now?
So we care a ton about design, and
Okay.
it's core to what we do. Everything we do must be beautiful. But that said, do people need to buy a new thermostat every year? Definitely not.
No,
I mean, we
that's-
expect them to keep our product for 5-10 years.
Right.
So does it make sense to do a new hardware iteration every year? Maybe not. Maybe there's other things we could do instead.
Right. And so what are those other things you can do? Are you going to add in more sensors? Because if you think about the typical sort of household of the future, the intelligent household, where I know Nest right now can sort of gauge whether or not you're in the home, you can control it from a smartphone from afar, and it can adjust things that way. But is there any plans on deck to sort of give a functionality where it can track individual users in the house based on profiles if they're in different rooms and adjust settings that way, or is that still way too far off into the sci-fi future?
I think it's a little bit too sci-fi.
Okay.
I mean, I think part of the Nest appeal is it's very consumery and something that my mom and my grandparents can use. What we look for kind of in a next product is what's another low-hanging fruit? What's another critical program, product in the home that really hasn't changed in 20 years, but you can't live without?
Right.
It's basically it's broken and it's frustrating for people. That's the kind of stuff that we look for.
Okay, so then building upon that, I know that personally, I think toilets, which I think it's a funny thing to say, but toilets is an area that hasn't really been innovated outside of Japan. I mean, you see all those crazy buttons, and there are levers and sprays, and it's very confusing and frightening. But there's obviously a great ability there to sort of pass on savings to the consumer in terms of all the water waste. So is that something that Nest could possibly get into next, or what are areas for you guys?
So I think what makes a Nest product
Right.
is a combination of great technology, great electronics, great sensing, connectivity, apps, and algorithms. So kind of the intersection of all those things. Toilets could be one. It's one we haven't looked at yet, but it's
Okay.
definitely an interesting one.
All right, well, you heard it here first. I'll prototype it for you. So then outside of that, is there any other area you can give us more of a specific insight into that you're maybe exploring right now?
So one area that we're always looking at is how can we go deeper in terms of energy.
Okay.
So in particular, we did this energy report, and it has kind of summary statistics about how much you've used or saved and what you can do to save more. Getting deeper there. How can we give people real insights? How can we make it actionable?
Right.
So that instead of having to go and change your habits, how can we do things for you?
Right.
I mean, how can we think ahead for people? And that's definitely an area for growth for us, and a lot of attention being paid to it.
Okay. And what about the mobile perspective? Is there any sort of plan on your end to take the Nest technology and maybe work with different manufacturers, mobile manufacturers like Apple? Obviously, that's where your legacy comes from. To integrate Nest technology into iPhones, into iPads, to sort of have these more intelligent products, because if you look at the trend right now, you hear all these mobile manufacturers saying we want emotional responses and personal connections between the consumer and our products. And obviously this is a way to sort of take it beyond just say, hey, this is a pretty phone, with a really great display. Now it can sort of read your environment. Is that an area that you're looking into? A possibility for Nest next, or?
It's definitely an interesting one. So we do a lot with our apps today, and we actually have great relationships with both Apple and Google on the app side. We do a lot with them. Going deeper, it's definitely interesting. Imagine if you could use some of your phone sensors as a proxy for the human.
Right.
It could be very interesting. I mean, we haven't gone too deep there yet, but
Okay.
it's definitely interesting.
Okay. Is there anything that's coming up that you can talk about or maybe hint at for us?
Nothing yet. I mean, we got a lot of stuff cooking now, and
Okay.
it should be a very interesting summer for us.
So, interesting stuff. Okay, so how long are we going to be seeing a focus on the Nest thermostat? If you can give me sort of a timeline before we can then maybe move on and see you guys grow as a company, because I presume you do plan to extend to a broader portfolio.
So the thing is, even with growth, we will always be focusing on the thermostat. And
Okay.
Like if you look at Apple, so Apple's put a lot of innovation and a lot of attention on the iPad. But yet, the iPhone is still a halo product. They put a ton into it. And
Right.
even the Mac is still a critical program. I think once you get once you get a market started, once you've invested in it, once you've built that beautiful product that people cherish, we have to continue to do great things there. We can't give it up. So even with great growth and new products, I think we're to keep all these things going in parallel.
Okay. So then what is the absolute core of Nest? If you had to sort of condense what Nest stands for, what is it? What is the core concept of your company there?
So I think it's kind of the amalgamation of a few things. So if you take design and put it together with your home and technology, and maybe a little bit of intelligence mixed in there too.
Okay.
If you put those things together, that's what Nest is about. And can we spread that to more than just the thermostat? We'll see in the future.
Okay. So how central then are programs like Nest Together, which gives consumers that are already buying into this product that's passing on savings and very environmentally conscious, that's then planting trees in areas that are sort of affected?
So I think it's really important, actually. And so again, listening to our users. So we've had a very, very passionate consumer base, and a lot of them are very active about the environment, and they want to know how they can save more. So yes, there's things we can do in the product side, but there's also things we can do in the company side.
Right.
So being able to plant trees for every Nest referred, that's a really cool thing. And some companies do things like, oh, we'll give you free shipping if you refer a friend.
Yeah.
Maybe that's everyone can do that.
Yeah.
We do free shipping anyway. Like maybe there's something we can do better than that. Like let's plant some trees or those kinds of things.
Do you have other initiatives coming up like that?
There are definitely some things coming soon. Nothing to announce today.
Okay.
But it's going to be a very, very interesting summer for us.
Okay, great. So you were talking about consumer feedback. How vocal is your consumer base with Nest? And if you had to sort of pick out the number one sort of, I wouldn't say gripe, but suggestion for improvement, what would that be?
So one of the most popular ones is more data.
More data.
More data.
In what terms, if you want to break that down more?
So deeper insights. So today we provide kind of monthly level information and kind of backward looking 10 days.
Okay.
And that's really all we provide, because honestly, keeping all this data for forever is going to be really expensive for us to hold. But figuring out how we could bubble up the most important things so our users can actually understand why their home is doing what it is, I think it's something that people are asking for. A lot of people actually are asking for more products, and that's something that's just going to take more time.
Okay. So just before we wrap up here, let me ask you, what is your absolute dream product that Nest could create? If we had to look really far in the future, say 10, 15 years down the road, where do you see Nest?
So there's been a promise for probably 50 years about a smart home, even like the Jetsons, right?
Right.
And this is something that's never come to fruition, because a lot of companies who've looked at kind of smart home automation technology have been honestly kind of too geeky.
Right.
And nothing's really appealed to the kind of the general consumer. Like the dream product for Nest is the home.
Okay.
And if we could really revolutionize that home and how people live in it and how the home takes care of them, I think we've accomplished our mission.
Okay, great. So prefab homes made by Nest?
You never know.
I'd buy it.
You never know.
If I had the space in New York. All right, well, thank you so much, Matt, for coming today. That's it. Joseph here at Engadget Expand 2013. Thanks.